Hi guys, welcome to Beginner-Techies. In this video, I'm going to discuss about few approaches and patterns that will help us to solve coding problems during our coding interviews. If anyone understands the generic patterns, they can simply use them to solve a plenty of other problem with slight variation, right? And these patterns and approaches will help us to bring brute force approach into optimization. What is the issue with brute force approach? Is it a pain in coding interviews? Yeah, so we need to understand this point, right? We need to understand why brute force is a pain in coding interviews. Let me draw examples here. Let's suppose we have this string A, B, C, D, A, B, C. Okay. And we have to find out the max length of substring which is having distinct character. Max length of the substring which is having distinct character. So if we see here in this input, we have this string, right, with max length. So what could be the possible solution approaches to solve this problem? If we think about brute force approach, and if we are applying brute force approach over here, what could be the complexity of brute force approach? So complexity of brute force approach is proportional to the input size. So this is the problem with brute force approach. We have to iterate till the input size if we are trying to find out the solution using brute force approach, right? And even though instead of like iterating through input size, sometimes we have to, like, let's suppose I have to solve this problem using brute force approach. So here I'm just starting from the initial position. Okay, if I'm starting from initial position, size whatever, again I have to stick over here to do some comparison if I'm applying brute force approach to solve this problem. I need a substring of distinct character which is having mass length. So here I will do some calculation logic, whatever, to get the result. So however, this is the costly approach. If I'm going through this approach, I'll get solution in O of n into n, which is not expected solutions. So we have to think about some approaches, like some patterns, to get the solution in a very optimized way. If you go through this approach in the coding interviews, we will definitely fail. Yeah. Because even though we have solved the problem, even though our logic is working with brute force, but that will be fail in those compilers. As we experienced, like in the several coding interviews like HackerRank, LeetCode, HackerEarth. So there, if we apply this brute force approach, then our problem, like our solution will definitely fail. So we have to think about some optimized approach. How can we solve this? Maybe we have some kind of O of n by 2. I mean, O of n solutions for this approach, for this problem, right? Let's suppose another problem. We have one array, and in this array we have millions of data, millions of records, 10 millions, let's suppose, and we need to search this record. 10 millions minus 1. So what could be the possible approach? What should be the most optimized approach? If we simply go through the brute force, then the solution will be costly because we have to iterate till 10 millions time. Then only we can get the solutions, right? In the worst case, in best case, if like the number we are searching, if it is at position 1, then it won't impact. But we are talking about worst case, not the best case. So what could be the possible solution in this case? So this is the problem with brute force approach. We should never recommend to apply brute force approach in not specific to coding interviews, actually in our real time project as well, because in that case we will get some kind of performance issues. Yeah, so at code level our code should be more optimized. So this is the issue. So that is why we have to, like, our solution should be more optimized. So for that we have a few patterns and approaches. If we really understood the let's suppose we have this problem, and we have to think like which pattern and approaches should be based for this problem. How can we get the best optimized solution while applying the few approaches and patterns on this problem, even this one as well, right? So for that we have few patterns and approaches. If you understand that, then we can simply we can simply apply those patterns and approaches to get the optimized solutions here. So brute force is really a pain if you're talking about coding interviews, not even the coding interviews, anywhere. If we are applying brute force approach, then yeah, definitely we'll face the performance issues, right? So here we have these generic approaches for problem solving. So already we have already heard these words, right? Sliding window, two pointers, fast and slow pointers, merge intervals, cyclic sort, in place reversal of linked list, tree breadth first search, tree depth first search, two heaps, subsets, modify binary search, top key elements, KV merge, topological sorts. If we are talking about this problem, so this problem can be solved using sliding window, might be. This problem could be solved using two pointers approach, could be, yeah. So we will discuss these things in the couple of videos, like uh, how can we identify whether this problem is a part of sliding window problem or two pointers or any other approach. So we will discuss these things in the next couple of videos, and I have identified few problems like for each feature and for each pattern and approaches. So we will discuss those things in the couple of videos in this video. This was my plan to discuss. In the next video, we'll discuss about the sliding window and another approaches.